Here's what bothers me. At the same time that Democrats are pushing through these restrictions on law-abiding gun owners, they are simultaneously trying to ease punishments, make life easier for criminals who actually use guns to commit violent crimes. And to me, those two things are absolutely running afoul of one another. I want you to keep in mind what Democrats say their motivation is for banning assault weapons. They say their motivation is to save lives, to save innocent lives. But my issue with that is this is the same party that for the past several years has been proposing bills that the only intention of these bills is to make life easier for criminals who use guns to hurt people. You might recall in the 2022 legislative session, Democrats introduced a bill that would have lowered the punishment for someone who murders another human in a drive-by shooting. That was the only intention of the bill, was to say that if you commit a drive-by shooting and you kill someone with a gun, we want to make sure that you don't automatically have to serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. That is an actual bill they introduced. So now square that with what they're saying right now about the ban on assault weapons. Can you make those two things make sense? You can't, if we are to believe their stated mission of the assault weapons ban. And there are countless other examples. Democrats have floated bills this legislative session that would reduce mandatory sentences for violent criminals, including criminals who use guns to hurt people. They floated a bill that would have reduced mandatory sentences for someone who uses a gun in the commission of a crime in a school zone. So if we're to believe, again, that they're banning these so-called assault weapons to prevent things like school shootings and they want to protect our kids in school, why would they simultaneously introduce bills that would take it easy, that would ease punishments for actual criminals who commit a crime with a gun in a school zone? And we can go back even further than that, to the summer of love, the summer of 2020, to the Chaz Chop debacle. Do you remember when the self-proclaimed warlord of Chop, a man named Raz Simone, was handing out these weapons of war out of the trunk of his car to anyone standing nearby so that they had an AR-15 or an AK-47 to be able to patrol this newly autonomous zone? Let me ask you, did Bob Ferguson have anything to say about Raz Simone? Did Jay Inslee have anything to say about Raz Simone? Did the Seattle City Council have anything to say about Raz Simone? No. In fact, behind the scenes, they worked with Raz Simone to try to bribe him, literally bribe him with taxpayer funds to get CHOP to end. The only person I heard say anything about Raz Simone handing out weapons of war out of the trunk of his car to people on the streets of Seattle was then Seattle City Council President Lorena Gonzalez, who blamed the whole ordeal on unscrupulous gun dealers, not on Raz Simone, who was handing them out of the trunk of his car. So they have an issue with weapons of war in the hands of law-abiding gun owners, but they don't have an issue with weapons of war in the hands of someone like Raz Simone and his group that took over 6 square blocks of the city. Why don't they have an issue with that? Well, it all boils down to ideology. It simply didn't fit their political narrative. It wasn't politically palatable for them to speak out about it at the time. So again, if I'm to operate on the assumption that Democrats are being genuine about why they want to ban these sorts of weapons, are doing it truly to save lives, the only possible way that I could believe that is if they weren't introducing other bills that will serve to do the exact opposite. Is if they were speaking out about these kinds of weapons at every juncture, including when they're used by activists pushing narratives that they agree with. And so in that sense, it is truly unbelievable to me that Democrats continue to stand behind this narrative that they care about public safety, that they want to protect people from being victimized by someone with a gun. because their words and their actions simply do not line up. And I would challenge any Democrat. I would challenge any Democrat who supports the assault weapon ban to tell me why I'm wrong.